Hey guys, have you ever tried to calm down an angry woman? Well, if you have, you probably already know that there are certain phrases you should never say to an angry woman. I know, it's not easy. You say something that you think is going to help diffuse the situation, and she just explodes even more. Or even worse, she breaks down in tears. It can make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. You're afraid to open your mouth because anything you say can be used against you. But here's the thing. Guys and women are different. So some of the things you might say to a guy that will actually help him calm down and see things logically work in the opposite way for a woman. So in this video, I'm going to reveal what the phrases you should never say to an angry woman are, and I'm going to reveal the one phrase that usually works to not only stop her from reacting poorly, yelling, crying, or freaking out, but will help her calm down. So make sure you watch till the end to get this superpower plus another bonus tip. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anna Jorgensen. Welcome to Just the Tip Tuesday. Now I'm sure some of you have uttered these seemingly innocent phrases that have caused her wrath, and I'm sure you'll agree that women are complicated creatures. But some of that is actually in our biology. I know, it's not an excuse. I'm just here giving you the intel to help you deal with it, with us. So if you've watched my videos for a while, you might know that the woman's emotional center of her brain, of our brains, is 8 times more sensitive than a man's. And it's tied to our long-term memory. Yes, we remember all the things and they are more meaningful to us in many instances. But what you might not know is that we are just as frustrated by our seemingly illogical and irrational reactions as you are. We just don't want you to know that because some of it is out of our control. And as mentioned, like my favorite neurobiologist at Stanford, Andrew Huberman, says, I wasn't consulted during the design phase. So what are these trigger-happy phrases you should never say to an angry woman, and why? Let's go through them. And I'm going to do countdown. So we're going to start with maybe the least triggering to the most triggering. And I guarantee probably all of you have said the most triggering phrase to an angry woman that you definitely should not say if you want to get a positive response. Now, if you want to use these phrases to test a woman, then definitely have at her because they will show you just how far her reactions go. All right, what are the phrases? Number 5, calm down, chill out. These are funny because I know you said it, I've heard it, and I know that the woman is going to react poorly if she's already angry, even a little bit if she's not that angry. But here's the thing. When a woman is already angry, her prefrontal cortex, the logical part of her brain, has already shut down, and that logical information is not getting through to her. Now, this also happens to men, but it just takes men a lot more or different stimulus to get angry. And as you know, if you've ever been really angry, for someone to actually say that to you, it's probably not going to work either. If you're really angry, if you're actually triggered to that emotional state. And for women, it happens a lot more easily because our emotional area of our brain is 8 times more sensitive than yours. So if you tell her to chill out or calm down, she's simply going to feel like her feelings or her emotions are invalidated. No one wants to feel invalidated. Women feel invalidated in different ways than men feel invalidated. Number 4, don't cry. Okay, here's the thing. If a woman is to the point of crying, it's beyond her control. Unless she's a narcissist or an extreme manipulator, if those tears are flowing out of her face, she's to a point of frustration or sadness or anger that she can't control herself any longer. And again, rational thought has left behind. She cannot stop crying even if she wants to stop crying. Here's another little hint about female psyche. When a woman cries, it's not, unless she's a narcissist or damaged goods, it's not to manipulate you. She just can't control herself. It's a way of releasing the frustration and pent-up emotions that are out of her control. And if a woman is crying to the point of snot bubbles, she's probably not trying to manipulate you. Those are not alligator tears. Those are real tears. Here are a few reasons why women actually burst into tears. Sadness, frustration, anger, overwhelm, and compassion. So if a woman is to the point where she bursts into tears because she can't control herself, then telling her not to cry only frustrates her more because it is out of her control. Side note, crying is an emotional release for all of us. Women just happen to be less in control of it happening, and society says it's okay. Key point, especially if she's tired, hungry, overwhelmed, or all of the above. And yes, in fact, there's another one that could be an especially, and that ties into the number one phrase you should never say to an angry woman, which will be revealed shortly. Now stick with me because I am going to give you that one phrase that works on 99% of women to get her to calm down almost immediately, plus a nonverbal strategy that will work 95% of the time, depending on if she's mad at you or someone else. But first, let's look at the next phrase you should never say to an angry woman. Number 3, why are you so cranky or angry or upset or whatever word you want to throw in there? I mean, this one seems legit, right? Because you want to know what's wrong so you can fix it. Or you think you know what's wrong, but you don't think it's valid enough to warrant the reaction she's giving you. So you think that by pointing that out, it's somehow going to make her become rational. But as you know now, a woman who is upset to the point of being angry is probably not in her rational mind. She's literally out of her mind, out of her prefrontal cortex mind. But in her mind, she thinks she has effectively communicated with you why she's upset, and you should understand that. And because you don't, she feels disconnected from you, she feels misunderstood, and she feels invalidated. Similarly to number 2 is saying it's not that big a deal. So when you tell a woman it's not that big a deal, again, you're invalidating her feelings because to her, it obviously is that big a deal. If she's angry at you, she feels dismissed. If she's angry at someone else, she feels betrayed. Here's an example that you can probably relate to. Imagine you got fired for something you know you did wrong, and you're pissed at your boss. You share with your woman what a butthole your boss is, but she sides with the boss. Now, logically, you did do something wrong, but does it feel good for her to side with the boss? No, right? No. Or she says it's not that big a deal, right? You don't want to feel invalidated. As a man with high accountability, you will come around to potentially seeing what you did wrong and agree with it being your fault or partly your fault. But in the heat of the moment, you don't want that to be pointed out to you. You want someone who's going to be on your team. And I'm going to share a personal story about this with something that happened with an ex-boyfriend of mine. And I think you'll really, really understand where women are coming from when you hear the story. The point is, you want her to be on your team. You want her to lift you up, not call you out. She wants the same thing. Okay, so just before I share that story with you, what is the number 1 of these phrases you should never say to an angry woman? Okay, I know you've said it. Comment if you have. Are you on your period? Or riding the cotton pony? Or is it that time of month? Or you know what I mean. Okay, this is a big one because it's actually true. Our hormones fluctuate on the daily. So our hormones affect our mood. Your hormones affect your mood, but your hormones are a lot more stable than a woman's are. So another equivalent of this statement might be, is this something to do with menopause? or are you having a hot flash? So anything related to a woman's reproductive time is going to trigger her because it's so out of her control and she doesn't even like it. So not only are her hormones affecting her mood, but she's totally out of control of that. So if she is riding the cotton pony, she's going to be even more sensitive to being called out on it. You got to remember that women want to think that they're always rational, but the reality is we're not because of our biology. And we've been told our whole lives that having these high emotions is a flaw. Just like you can't help looking at women and you're told that this is a flaw when it's just your biology. So when we're in a mood that makes us trigger happy, we don't want to be reminded that that's out of our control. Okay, so now, what's the one phrase to say to an angry woman that works 99% of the time? And what's the non-verbal body language strategy that you can use that will work about 95% of the time, depending on if she's mad at you or someone else. And then I'll share my personal story. Okay, you ready for that phrase that's going to work 99% of the time? Tell me more. I'm listening. I know it's so simple, but man, is that effective. Now, it's all about the delivery. If you're sarcastic, it's not going to work. So you want to get to the bottom of it, whether she's mad at someone else or she's mad at you. Now, you might have to tweak it a little bit if she's mad at you, because you might already know why she's mad. She might have actually expressed it, or at least expressed what she thinks is the reason for her being mad at you. But the general idea is you want her to know that you're listening to her. You want her to open up and tell you more so that you can help her to get to a better feeling place. As you may or may not know, women use approximately 20,000 words in a day compared to the 7,000 words that men typically use. So we tend to work through our problems by expressing them, by venting. Whether, again, it's about you or something else, we often just need to spew the dialogue. So we need you to really listen. Listen without fixing. You got to take your fix-it hat off and set it to the side. Whereas men often need to clam up and maybe go in their man cave to ponder their problems, put them on the shelf, take them off the shelf, have a little look, and then eventually you come out with maybe a solution. Women are the opposite. We like to talk about it. And oftentimes, just by talking about it, we figure out our own solutions in that process, as well as releasing some of those excess, pent-up, not so fun emotions. So by listening, you actually are doing the fix-it. Women want to feel heard and supported, validated, just like you want to feel validated. You have other ways of needing validation. This is the way a woman needs her validation from you. And that's not to say that if she's in the wrong, that it's going to get swept under the rug. But the thing is that if you approach the solution in any other way, it's not going to be very effective. So this is the beginning of the solution, is to actually listen. Now, I know this is really hard for you because you are problem solvers. Men are problem solvers. Ladies, if you're watching this, men are problem solvers. They want to help fix the situation, whether it's about them or someone else. So just be cognizant of that. And if you've got a guy who hasn't watched this video or doesn't know, then just tell him, I prefer right now for you to listen. That's the best thing you can do for me. So guys, you can even ask her if you're unsure, because she's going to tell you stuff and you're going to be like in your brain going, well, you could do this, or you could do that, or here's the solution, but that's not the right answer right now. So if you're really unsure or you really want to share a solution, you can actually just ask her, do you want me to listen right now? Or do you want me to try and help you solve this? Most of the time, she's going to say, I just want you to listen. Okay, now what about the nonverbal strategy that's going to be effective in 95% of the time, depending on if she's mad at you or someone else? Okay. The nonverbal strategy to calm down an angry woman, depending on the situation and how well you know her, is to hold her, to envelop her. Now you're thinking, okay, I've done that and it didn't work and she only got more mad and pushed me away. I know, that's why it doesn't always work. It's like 95% of the time. It depends on the situation. She really does want that, but if she's in a highly triggered state, especially if she's mad at you, then it's going to be a touchy situation. So if she's not really, really mad at you and the tears haven't started flowing yet, she might welcome a hug because she just wants to relax. Now, if you do hug her, be prepared. That's when the tears might start flowing because now she feels safe enough to be able to release them. Now, if the situation or her upset is about you, then a hug might be the best solution or the worst solution, as you probably know. Here's the kind of rule of thumb. If she's upset at you for what she legit thinks is a reasonable reason, then a hug at that moment is maybe going to feel manipulative, like you're avoiding dealing with the issue or maybe taking responsibility that is warranted. However, if she's upset because she's tired or hungry or overwhelmed, and the issue isn't really a big one, whether it's about you or someone else, then a hug may be welcomed. I'm sorry I can't be there with you to say which situation it's going to be, but you can always again say, can I hug you? Can I hold you? She's going to say yes or no. Now, here's a bonus strategy. if she's mad at someone else or some other situation. So I'm going to share this one in my true story. So when I was dating this guy in LA, at the time he was in a really bad place. Like he was just in a dark place in his life and was having a hard time. And he had this landlady who just didn't like at all. Now, it was mostly his attitude. Now, she wasn't perfect, but it was actually mostly his attitude that was giving him the difficult time with her. And I thought I was being helpful by pointing that out. Wrong, you know that's wrong, come on. So, I mean, maybe it's logically right, but in the moment it's wrong. You know, he didn't want someone who was going to be logical with him. He wanted a teammate. He wanted me to be on his side. And he actually said that. He's like, you know what? I don't care if you're right. I just want you to be on my team. And I really thought about that, and it's stuck with me ever since. So the next time something came up where he was angry at his landlady, I said, you get the shovel, I'll get the lime. And then we both laughed because it was unexpected. Obviously, we didn't do anything like that. I'm not telling him where the body's buried. No, just kidding. But that made him feel like I was on his team. So you want to be on her team just like you want her to be on your team. So if she's mad at somebody else or some other situation, depending on how it's going, you can either grossly exaggerate and try to make it into a funny by being on her team to the extreme, or you can just be like, all right, you were not treated fairly, or she was wrong, or you deserve better than that, babe, or whatever it is. If you're on her team, she's really going to appreciate that, even if she's actually in the wrong. You can work that out later. So just to recap, you're going to listen without fixing, you're going to hug with permission, and you're going to be on her team. And now that you know the phrases that don't work on an angry woman, you might want to know about some of the phrases that work to turn her on. I'm talking about certain words that set off strong triggers in her subconscious mind that will absolutely help to get her aroused. These tiny words and phrases go straight to her heart and make her crave your attention and touch. When you say them, she'll instantly melt and want to be closer to you emotionally and physically. And the best part, these words are short, sweet, and simple, so they're easy to remember. However, you need to know when to say them. Say them at the right time and things get quickly steamy. Say them at the wrong time and you might need to come back to this video. This is what I'm going to reveal to you in the next video, so watch it now.